George Washington was the founding president of America and a hero of democracy. He was the symbol of independence and the hope of his people. He was the president who fought on the battlefield for the American people. A respectful leader, he willingly gave up power for the sake of democracy. He laid the foundations of democracy and valued the power of the people above all else. George Washington, the president who paved the way for freedom for the American people. Now, let us listen to the magnificent and inspiring words of this great leader. Freedom cannot be sustained without the virtue and wisdom of the people. True patriotism is putting the interests of the people and the state above all else. Government can be a powerful servant in strong hands, but a terrible master in weak ones. Honesty is always the best policy. Liberty, if not defended, will be lost over time. Discipline and determination are the keys to success. A nation's moral values determine its true strength. The happiness of the people should be the fundamental goal of government. True friendship is independent of small calculations and personal interests. Sometimes our greatest enemies are those closest to us. The greatest threat to liberty is the indifference of the people. Justice cannot be sustained without freedom.
We must always remember that all men are created equal.
The voice of the people should be the compass of the government. Avoiding unnecessary wars is the most important duty of a wise statesman. Unity and solidarity are the greatest strengths of a nation. The ignorance of the people is the greatest supporter of despotism. People often lose their liberty without even realizing it, because it happens gradually.
Fear is the greatest enemy of freedom. Peace is the greatest weapon of a strong nation.
If you are strong enough to bear arms, you are strong enough to protect your freedom.
Justice is the conscience of a nation. Without education, democracy cannot last long. Independence is not only the right of a nation, but also of every individual.
Justice is the conscience of a nation. Without education, democracy cannot last long. An informed society is a strong society. Every generation must reclaim its own freedom.
A people who do not protect their own freedom are doomed to live under the rule of others. Patriotism is not shown through empty words, but through sacrifice. If a nation loses its morality and virtue, it will also lose its liberty. Even the strongest armies cannot last long without the support of the people. Difficulties build character. Even in times of peace, we must be prepared for war. Political parties, if they divide the people, will endanger liberty. There can be no peace without justice. The best way to preserve liberty is through an informed and vigilant public. History is a guide for those who remember the past. Loyalty is the foundation of a strong nation. The government must exist for the people, not the people for the government. A leader who harms his own people is more dangerous than the worst enemy. Education liberates the individual. A nation that is not educated is easily ruled and deceived. The greatness of a nation is measured by the character of its people. Freedom is never given. It must be won and defended. When the people realize their power, no tyrant can rule over them. A weak government is the greatest threat to its people. The greatest battle is the one within oneself. To have freedom, individuals must first be free in their minds. True leaders emerge in times of crisis. The voice of the people is the strongest check on government power. The greatest enemy of a nation is betrayal from within. Where there is no justice, there can be no peace. Independence is not just a word. It is a way of life. Freedom can only truly exist where everyone has equal rights. As long as America exists, George Washington will always be remembered and will remain a symbol of American freedom. In this video, we talked about George Washington's magnificent words. In future videos, we will bring you the words of other great and important figures. Subscribe to the channel and don't forget to turn on the notification bell